So what's up? So I want to see if anybody else gonna be talking about it. But I sat down and watched that documentary with Diddy, The Reckoning, and I'm kind of I feel so healed. I feel it's like something in my heart just flew away. Because 50 Cent funny as hell. Cause you know, I'm just like, because this is not the first like documentary that he's put together, about Diddy. And I was just like, you know what? I think he's deeply disturbed about that shit. And he definitely want, because at first I was just like, he want, Diddy to get his justice and he want those other people to get justice. But oof, I'm still kind of like shaking. It's like something is just roaring through my soul. You know what I'm saying? Because he really showed the bigger picture of Diddy, to where people think that Diddy is scary and he's just this monster. Diddy is an illusionist. And the thing is that his issues root from childhood. And so when we have issues with childhood, we're looking for acceptance. Oh, ooh. So the thing is that, I mean, if you really pay attention to the film, it's just like Diddy was not who he said he was. And then, Diddy was not, it's like he was so good at putting up illusions. But the thing is that he would easily attract other individuals who had like issues from their childhood. Not everybody said something about their childhood, but it's just the acceptance. And then, I mean, as a child, most children, they look up to the celebrities. So it's just like, I want to be like that. I want to be that. I want that popularity. I want that fame. This, and that. Then when you get a little older, you start understanding money and then how money creates lifestyle. And then with that life and that lifestyle, then you start wanting it more for other reasons. But the biggest thing that I kept picking up on was, he's attracting people, he's attracting his shadows. Like a lot of people, who don't feel accepted because, it's kind of like, for one, they hit it on the nail. It started with him as a child having a very toxic imagination. And I feel like for a lot of black children and especially black men, that is something that a lot of them go through, because I know a couple of brothers like that myself. And that way of thinking without understanding imagination and being able to let go, it follows you into adulthood. you know with me growing up in an abusive home, imagination was my way of escape. you know but when I start getting older, start liking boys, start working, my imagination just kind of, I was able to break free of it instead of making it something that I became dependent upon throughout my whole life. And so, with taking breaks within my creativity throughout the years as an adult, I was able to channel imagination in a more healthier way. So, I'm sitting here and I'm just like, wow, because they displayed him like he loved to entertain. You could tell that he loved attention. You know what I'm saying? Then, on top of that, he wasn't really tough. But because of the main woman in his life was who she was, you know, um, there was this lack of acceptance that he felt, and so he's looking as to what to be and how to be. I see that a lot too. And even when it comes to 50 Cent, he had issues with his mother, but you can definitely tell, you've seen 50 Cent's evolution, and I'm pretty sure that he still struggles with certain things within his life, but you know, you could definitely tell he not trauma bonding, you know. So I said to myself, I said, you know what? I said, he's trauma bonding to everybody around him. And he's taking his trauma out on people too. So it's crazy. It's such a big picture. And It's like the biggest thing was the illusion. It's so spiritual. It was so spiritual. Like that whole thing was talking to me in such a spiritual light. And the detective that he had up there, I mean, I'm just like, is this man, was he really a detective or was he an actor? Because I had seen that man in my dreams, I want to say 10 or 9 months ago. And his voice sounds so familiar to me because at one point in time I had started studying criminology and I was connecting to somebody. And I remember saying, I made a video. I was like, criminology, it programs individuals psychologically to target Hispanic and Black people. And I remember with doing that video, when I had said that, I had heard, a man's voice say, no, it does not. And I saw the face, and that was that face. And then when I was looking into his eyes, I was just like, he looked like he carried the burden of spirits. Like, I'm like, is he a psychic medium? Like, I don't know. That shit was just, it was crazy. And, you know, I'm going to tell you, motherfuckers look at Diddy like he was the devil, but he was the puppet. The devil is the one who it's like the devil is the one who comes in at earliest. And that's the one that you hear least about. So who was that person? That person was Clive Davis. So it's kind of like, I'm gonna tell you, because things were speaking to me when when I was like watching the documentary. I had to relocate outside because I don't know, because me and my son's father, we was watching it together, and I don't know, I'm just picking up, he could hear me talking, and I'm just picking up strange vibes from him. So I just decided to come outside. But anyway, so the spirits was talking to me while I was watching that documentary, and they were hitting on some serious shit. Like, motherfuckers knew he had something to do with Pac and Biggie death. And, Diddy was able to get away with his illusions for a while, but then it was kind of like when he started to realize how shit was changing, he was losing control. Oh, excuse me. So it's kind of like, it's like, I can't lose control, like he wanted to be the best. He wanted to be the one. Now I'm gonna tell you, the spirits had told me, they was just like, Diddy was chosen. And Clyde was he was informed that the chosen one would come to him. And so it's kind of like, once Clyde got to him, it was just like he was now chosen for something else. You know what I'm saying? So even after then, for a while, it was still, he was kind of like still on top, being able to like manipulate people and all that type of stuff. But it's more so when when the wave begin to change. And he was losing that control. So it's kind of like, it couldn't just be him anymore. So, I saw his pattern. I saw his pattern so fucking well. You know what I'm saying? And I said, I could see what he was doing, and I could see the issues that he was having and struggling, within himself. But he had already signed over. Oh, great. Hold on. See how I got all these distractions and shit, But, I mean, you could just see how he had signed over, and then, because the devil will promise you things, it's a shady deal. So it's an illusion. You think that you're getting something, but then it's kind of like he was getting it, but it was running short. So now he got to come up with other creative ways as to how to maintain. So a lot of it had to do with him taking other people's ideas too and flipping them around. Now my thing is that ideas are infinite. There are many ideas floating in and out here and all this type of stuff. And sometimes one person may have an idea, but maybe somebody has, like a different idea or a better idea, and they just kind of build and flip off of that. So I saw that too. So it got to a point to where, when the drugs was more involved, he was able to cast those illusions. But then it's kind of like, I can't just cast illusions over myself. I have to bring people into my illusions. Because, he was drugging people and motherfuckers ain't even know that they was being drugged. Like that shit was just so fucked up. I'm just like, man, like Cat Williams said it the best. You gotta tell that nigga no. Like with dealing with him, you got to be mental and spiritual. That's the way that you would be able to overcome that. It was sad though, because a lot of the women, they have, women are more vulnerable to psychological abuse because we are the portals. So I'm just like, man. And so you had that one woman that was kind of like his first victim. You got that one woman that has just been living like heartbroken and damaged like for a very long time. And I'm just like, whoa, this shit is insightful as hell. And I'm gonna tell you, I usually watch scary movies, for like spiritual inspiration and enlightenment and all that type of stuff. So this documentary was just on a whole other level of spiritual like healing. I was just like, oh my goodness. And I'm gonna tell you, he was bridging the gap. They was bridging the gap in that documentary because Pac was running his ass, and Biggie was running his ass too in the spirit. You could see it. It's so fucking synchronistic. And I was just like, wow, like people get the opportunity to say what they know, what they've been wanting to say for fucking years. People getting the opportunity to get that off their chest and speak the fuck up. You know, I said, man, this shit is like high school. You know, it's like that high school mentality. But the thing is that motherfuckers is not being taken care of. So it's really all about the money. And my thing is, I'm just like, man, this nigga don't even really have no money because he ain't paying no fucking body, but he keeping it on to himself. And the thing, they hit on it too because they say he was jealous of his artist because he ain't had no talent. I deal with that shit all the fucking time. So I'm just like, whoa. I feel like it's like I've been watching, spiritually going through some of this shit too myself within my own life personally. Like I be telling people, it's parallel realities. Like we're dimensional beings, so we're experiencing certain things. I didn't know the nigga was lacing the goddamn baby oil. That shit was fucking crazy. That shit was crazy. And I had picked up too, you know, motherfuckers try to act like they felt sorry for Cassie. A lot of people was jealous of her, so they really didn't care, men and women. They didn't care what she was going through. They didn't care about none of that shit for real. That's why I say, man, that shit like high school. That shit crazy. That shit like high school. Cause you always got that beautiful popular girl to where motherfuckers be hating on her and smiling in her face, secretly wanting their opportunity to, like knock her down and come up against her and all that type of stuff. But I really, you know, I want to be honest and say that I feel bad for individuals, but the thing is that there's nothing to feel bad for because it's all an illusion. They just played into the illusion. Now, certain things they may have done to their bodies or some shit. It's kind of like they may have had to deal with things like that, but it's kind of like when it comes to trauma, your trauma, when we let our trauma control us, we have a tendency to think that that shit is real. And it's like a lot of people who are traumatized, they're not actually traumatized. And I had asked the spirit guys. I was just like, why, if you're trying to take that man down, you're because it had nothing to do with other people. It was all about him. He was the target the entire time. But it's like he was trying to pull people and bring people in to his inevitable demise. So how can you tell people that their trauma is not real? You know what I mean? Because they were emotionally affected by things. But because I am who I am, and I get into psychology, then on top of that I'm a spiritualist, I can put it all together. Because the thing is that trauma, and when we trauma bond, is based off of fear. So how can you tell people that what they went through was not real? You can't tell them that. It's more so of, you're not traumatized. You think that you are, but you're not. you know but motherfuckers feel disrespected and they feel betrayed. You know what I'm saying? So if you think about it, it's not necessarily being traumatized. It's actually simpler. And there are ways as to how individuals can heal from the betrayal and the humiliation of things. So I feel like the lightheartedness that I feel about that situation, I feel like there's a relief in knowing that individuals have hope. But the thing is that if individuals continue to convince themselves of the trauma, now I'm talking about mentally and spiritually, a lot of people were violated physically. You know what I'm saying? So in your vessel being violated, yes, that can do psychological, you know what I'm saying? But I'm more so talking about the fear, like fearing him. And because of that experience, it's like now you cannot live your life in peace, or in freedom because now you're afraid. So I'm not trying to say that the trauma is not real, but in a sense, it's not real. The fear is definitely not real. But like I said, people went through physical things too. And then certain things that were exposed and embarrassed. And then, like I said, a lot of people, they didn't know that they were being poisoned. I said it once, I'm going to say it again. My mother is a reincarnation of Jim Jones. Jim Jones, that nigga is that too. These spirits, they be jumping. They be jumping. They be jumping around. And it's on so many levels. So my biggest thing is that the trauma transfers over to the children. And that's my biggest thing. But the thing is that you can help and you can heal your children by, like somewhat being an activist or being a protector over the children's conscious state. But my thing is that, shit is in perfect harmony. So when I say what I say, it's going to consist of people, like changing their perspective and their artistry around how they are influencing. But I understand how there's so much money flowing around. I understand the work that's being put in. I understand the carefree lifestyle, and I understand the feeling of being free. You're not out here like slaving away like individuals that are in poverty. Like, we have people down here, they want to go out, they want to go to a club, they want to feel high. They want to feel that liberation, that freedom, that highness. It just feels good with being in that trance of the fun life, of the party life. I totally get it. But once again, that shit roots from childhood too. If you study people's evolution, if you study, for one, 50 Cent's evolution, 50 Cent has come a long way, not just as a creator, an artist, a businessman, but as an individual. It's the same as Monique. Man, Monique started off, when she first started off, she was kind of like real, like fuck skinny women and all this type of shit. Then she came back and she was just like, it ain't even about skinny or big women. It's just about women. You know what I'm saying? And you just kind of seeing her evolution and you see her now. And, Monique went through counseling. She went through therapy. You know, you hear when Cat talk, it's kind of like Cat, it's like Cat just see the shit. You know what I'm saying? Cat just be seeing it. He's cautious. He's not easily trying to fit in. Which means that he had already went through a lot of rejection. He's already been the butt of people's joke. He has already seen the cruelty of humanity of people. you know, and he's still out here trying to be and do the best that he can, even with having to deal with the cruelty and still, wanting to do his craft. And, after he did that interview with Mr. Shannon, I saw an interview that he did to where he took back a lot of stuff that he said about Michael Jackson. I started crying. I started crying because I knew Michael was with him. I started crying. Because when he did that interview, I'm just like, nigga, you sitting up here now, but you was talking about Mike Jack. You know what I'm saying? So when I saw that interview, I was just like, wow, that shit liberated me. It freed me too. So, it's so beautiful. And it's like this documentary just has a rare beauty. And it really says, it speaks very loudly. It really did. I was so touched. You know, I was so touched. And I really hope that individuals can move on, you know what I mean? And heal from that situation. Because, I remember, I remember Terrence Howard. They did an interview on him, and he's just like, "Well, don't they let him take the man card?" But the thing is that they, motherfuckers was being drugged though, and half of the time they didn't even know. So it's like you can't really hold individuals accountable. You know, they didn't have the discernment. They didn't have the judgment. It's not like God is in that occupation or that lifestyle. Like God is always there, but and then you hear Diddy talking a lot about God. I was like, yeah, nigga, you connecting to a higher power, but it damn sure ain't God. It's them spirit guys fucking your ass up. And they show clips of him being high, and I mean, I could see. I said, oh, motherfuckers want they get back. My thing is, I've never connected to Biggie Smalls in spirit. I never can. So, I've never heard, I never heard Biggie's voice. I never, like nobody has told me he was around or what have you, what have you. So I'm just like, you know what? I think that, he, I think that once he finished doing what he wanted to do, I think he just went on. I think he just went on. He just left. He evolved or he incarnated or he went to another level, within the astral plane. So I just don't, it's, it was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. And for 50, for one, to be a black man, and then for two, for him to be in that life, and then come from where he come from, and the things in which that he been through, even with his journey, his life journey, I'm just like, that's a lighthouse. Like, thank you. Because I sure wasn't getting that shit from the spiritual community. But, I already know that you don't have to be in the spiritual community to be spirited, you know, or to be in touch, because spirituality is individuality. It's all about the soul evolution. So, I was just like, wow, like that was beautiful. And once again, I hope, individuals recover from that situation, and I hope that they can find a way as to take their experience and make something beautiful out of it. Because wanting to see that man fry, wanting to see him suffer, wanting to see Diddy suffer and fry, that's not going to be enough. Like that's not going to be enough. But that shit was like warfare, spiritual warfare in the physical at its finest. He's making you think that he's powerful. He has the gift of influence, like most entertainers do. You know what I mean? And my thing is that I'm on the ground, so I see it in the children. I experienced it when I was younger too. And sometimes I just get so disheartened about the world. And, some days I just have to cry just because the world, how fucked up shit is. Truly. The heart really goes out to the women, just especially the women that were violated. You know what I mean? It really, but even the men too, even the men too. And it always seems like a lot of people with dealing with that industry, it's kind of like, it's like they don't know. It's like, should I do this or shouldn't I do this? Well, this is what everybody else is doing, and maybe this is the way in which that it is, So, individuals don't know. And then, I mean, it's like the world. It's like, that's like a whole totally other world. And you have people playing certain positions, people who have been doing it for a long time. Then you have people who see shit and don't say nothing. They don't do anything about the corruption of things. Everybody just kind of feel like they gotta pass it on, play it on, but a lot of the times the drugs has something to do with that, because when you're high, sometimes the drugs take it away. It takes away the truth of things, and then when you're having fun and you're turned up and all this type of stuff, and you really don't have too much to worry about. That nigga was fucked up. That nigga was fucked up. He was not paying motherfuckers, but he want to work. He want to work people. That's what you call a dark magician. But I already said it. That was goddamn Jim Jones. Mm, 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 mm. But anyway, I'm still speechless. Like, absolutely speechless. You know, it was so well balanced. And, you know, 50 Cent could have been out here like angry as hell, but he did not let that shit oppress him or like disturb him. You know, like I said, it's like he alchemized that into something, and then he gave other people opportunities. He helped people face their fears. Cause motherfuckers been wanting to speak up on that Pac and Biggie shit for a very long time. That nigga was so selfish. It was always about him. That's selfish to a that shit is selfish to a whole other degree. That shit crazy. Cause I'm just like, man, I see niggas like him all the time in my life. I really do. But because of his position, his determination, his drive, you know, that shit was just on a whole other level. I be seeing bitches like that too, man. Mm. And the toxicity, like the chaos, like he had hit on a certain point to where. So I forgot what I was saying. I was interrupted. This nigga keep interrupting me. And I keep feeling something from him. I think he triggered from that shit too. I think that he's triggered. I don't understand his trigger, but because me and my son's father, we sat down and we watched it together. And, you know, sometimes he can be so detached, and, you know, certain shit just be funny to him. But, you know, when it come to me, I don't be on that silly, goofy shit. You know what I'm saying? Because my thing is that, you know, people were affected. People's lives were affected. You know, so when he heard me talking, it's kind of like, damn, I ain't even grabbed my shit. Fuck. So the thing is, you know, he's giving off weird ass energy because he tried to laugh about certain shit in there, and I'm just like, motherfucker, hey, that shit ain't funny, you know, like, and he know I'm deep, and sometimes he can't handle that shit. He can't handle it, so I think he bothered. So I'm about to go and get him get his vape, because he tried to fuss about his vape, you know. But the thing is that we share it, but he the one that be sucking the shit down. But I'm gonna just try to ease his mind, because he about to start drinking. You know, shit be deeply disturbing him, and you know, it's like he be trying to bury that shit, you know. But when it comes to me, it's just like, you know, you ain't burying shit when it come to me, you know. So, but I mean, I feel like I said what it is in which that I had to say, because, you know, he be scared and shit, and some people, they just can't go, you can't take them deep because they'll drown. You know, you can't tell them too much of the truth because mentally they'll be fucked up. You know, it's, you know, let me put on this seatbelt. Oh, yes. So, you know, I just hope he can put that shit out of his mind and not let it rest on his heart. So, hopefully my good deed will distract him. You know, I'm gonna tell you, he's so good at pushing shit down. The only time I get it out of him is when he get high, but he don't get high. You know, we only smoke weed like twice. You know, been on that man for like 20 years. You know, I remember we smoked years ago, and I was just like, damn, you tapped into spirit like a motherfucker, nigga. Like, stop reading my mind. Stop telling me about myself. Like, you fucking up my high, you know. And he just kept talking. He kept talking. I was like, oh God, shut up. I'm trying to laugh about some shit, nigga, your ass, you know. So he had, I think one of the spirits, somebody took over him. because he ended up eating like an edible. And when he ate that edible, like, he had broke down crying about a guy we went to school with. You know, the guy had went to jail for rape, you know. And I didn't even know it was on his mind so heavy like that. You know what I'm saying? Because the guy, he'll call and he's just like, yeah, man, I'm just holding up this and that. And I'm just like, why does it bother you so deeply? And he told me, he says, I don't think that he did it. And so I told him, I said, you got to look at it like this, right? He may not have done it, but there may have been a chance to where maybe he knows something happened to somebody and he didn't do or say anything about it. I said, karma has a funny way of catching up to motherfuckers. So he may not be in jail for a crime that he didn't commit, but I said it may have been some other shit that he had been doing that he had gotten himself into, and maybe he had been getting away with certain things for a long time. I said, I understand that is your friend. And I said, be honest. You don't know him. You're not in his life. You just remember him from school days, from him being a child. But he a grown-ass man, and he be playing in them streets, And I'm just like, killers. So I said, you got to think of it like that. And I said, then you got to think about, what if our son was killed or some shit? And, like, what if he saw that shit? And, we're grieving and he don't speak up, but he know who did it. Now we're living in grief for the rest of our life or something. And the whole time he knew about it. I said, you got to play around with the perspective, because it's always a bigger picture to something. Like, even if it's not, I said, maybe, you never know, maybe God want to get to that man. And the only way to get to that man and to settle him down is to put him in some type of restriction like that. So, when I start giving him stuff to think about, that's when he started lightening up. Got me on a fucking mission to get this goddamn shit. Yeah. But anyway, I forgot what the fuck I was saying. All these fucking interruptions and shit. I feel like people not gonna see. They're not gonna see. Like, I feel like some individuals will see it, but I don't know. I could just pick up that he real triggered though. He need to stop being so fucking silly all the time, trying to act like shit don't bother him, but he don't do well with his emotions. So it's good that he just try to figure it out. Damn, this shit flooded. What is going on out here? What is going on? Something going on. It's a lot of water. It's a lot of water. Somebody in goddamn love. All this fucking water is flooded everywhere. It was raining, but this part don't never flood. This synchronistic as hell. And then the man that I go to get the vape, he ain't got the shit. So, well, you need to put your hazards on if you not fucking moving. But anyway, so I helped him with that perception. You can't. I'm so glad he don't be getting high. I'm glad that's not for you. And I don't like edibles. I don't like body highs. I like head highs. So I won't high with him. And I didn't even know that shit bothered him the way in which that it did. But that's why when it comes to certain movies, like, I will not watch certain movies. Like, I'll see movies, good movies, and sometimes I want to tell him about the movie, but I just be like, nah, he gonna be too affected. It's gonna be too sad. He really don't understand emotions. He feel like every time somebody cried, it's because they're sad, and I just be like, well, there's different range of emotions for people to feel. People can cry tears of joy. So in his mind, and he asked me, he was just like, well, if it's joy, why is it tears? And I told him, I'm just like, because the feeling is a different type of joy. It's a different, it's more of something in which that is, for one, very intense and it's authentic. Not to say that joy doesn't consist of like happiness and excitement and stuff like that, but people can experience joy, through sincerity, through crying, because sometimes we'll watch movies and then, he's just like, why are you crying? He was just like, that was a happy thing. I was just like, yeah, it was beautiful. So he's just like, why are you crying if it's beautiful? Shouldn't you be smiling? I just be like, boy, sit your ass down. Just leave me alone. I'm tired of explaining this shit. So through him, I'm just like, some people just really don't understand emotions. They don't understand the different cycles. It's like the moon. The moon rotates in 13 phases. And the thing is that, you're not necessarily going to see the moon rotate in 13 phases, but it rotates in 13 phases. So, child, I said, he's special. He definitely not in tune with his emotional side. So, I try to keep things sincere. I keep him in remembrance of the sincerity. You're not the type of person to where you can go too high or you can go too deep. So stay balanced. You know what I'm saying? Just stay mutual. And I try to do my best to keep him mutual. You know what I mean? Because, when he was talking about his friend, he cried. And my thing is, I ain't never seen that man cry except for the time he got a DUI. He started bawling crying when he got a DUI. So I was like, And I ain't never seen him cry since. That was years ago. We was recently talking about his friend this year. And then on top of that, he was high. So I try to tell him, I'm just like, I know you don't really fuck with the marijuana, but it is a healing plant. It heals you emotionally, And so I'm just, because he was just like, I can't understand what's going on with me. I'm just like, you're healing. That's something that you got deep down inside. We weren't even talking about his friend. And he was just sitting there running his mouth, and he was just so happy and just so goofy. And he was trying to hold back his goofiness. And I'm just like, nigga, I know you a silly ass nigga. It's okay. So it's like he let out the goofiness, and then he just transitioned into the sadness. Well, what the fuck is going on? Because it's clear that I ain't supposed to be getting this shit. I don't know what the fuck going on. But when I walked up in there, I felt something like grab on my neck. I was like, what is this? What are you doing? And I had just transferred the money into my account before I left the house. And then my card declined. So I was just like, oh no. I was like, something going on here. What is going on? Well, maybe they just want to get me out of the house or something. I don't know. Child. Here we go. And then when I was in there, I was feeling so impatient. I was feeling so annoyed by the individuals that were in front of me. I'm just like, why do I feel so impatient and annoyed, Ooh. Shit, I ain't about to go nowhere else because there ain't nowhere else to go. It's only 2 stores. And then I got to make sure this motherfucker, how the shit gonna be, how the shit is $16.99, but he gonna charge me $17.99. So I was just like, all right, well, whatever. So then the amount is gonna come up to $19.07. I was just like, damn, hella tax. But see, this how the universe be protecting my money too. So I need to make sure I check my account and get that shit disputed. Cause I said, well, did you send it back? He was just like, it was voided because it didn't go all the way through. So I got my receipt. So I'm gonna check my account and make sure, because I know I had enough. I had transferred just enough, because usually the vape costs like $17. So, but see, this how my shit be being protected. So I don't give a fuck, because I didn't try. I get what I want. The shit be so effortless. When I'm supposed to have it, it's like the gates open up to me, but them gates ain't open tonight. I was like, okay. And then all that funny ass energy in there with him. Because sometimes he be getting a little J. He get a little J because I'm, like I can go deep. I can go deep. He can't do that. So he be getting a little J. But I could just kind of feel it's like something left him and it came towards me. Maybe that's why I needed to get out. And then when I did my cards, I saw the trigger. I was just like, he triggered. I'm not triggered. Like, what the fuck is this? So we gonna air it out. Ooh, what is going on? Who is that? But I'm gonna have to go in and do another reading for myself, because that flood really got to me. That shit has never happened before. It was raining today, but it won't raining like that. And I mean, the city does get flooded very easily. So whatever. All right, so we about to go home. Maybe that nigga tried to, maybe he got some jealous ass thoughts in his mind or some shit. And God is just like, don't go out there and get him shit. Right. But the thing is that I be smoking on the shit too. So, well, whatever. I know it's for my protection, so I damn sure ain't gonna get upset. Because I'm just like, I know I transferred that shit into my account. And he talking about the shit $5 short. And I'm just like, $5 short, that don't even make no sense. I don't have no subscriptions. I don't have anything that's for $5. You know, like, if I put 20 in my if I put 20 in my account and the shit is 19, I shouldn't be $5 short. So, you know, that shit just shifted. I felt like the moment he heard me talking, it's kind of like something just shifted. But, you know, I know he be hating sometimes on the low. I don't be paying that nigga no mind. Trying to tell you, I deal with jealousy so fucking well. It's ridiculous. That nigga Diddy jealous as a motherfucker too. Shit crazy. I be trying to tell people jealousy will run your ass in the ground. Jealousy will run your ass in the ground, but, you know, at the same time, with him as a child, man, that should be starting from childhood. So, you know, that's why I be just feeling so much for the children. But I don't have to worry about that because the consciousness has been switched out for most of the children anyway. So, you know, like, I'm trying, the extraterrestrials got it from here. So, you know, I don't have to. And that's another thing about me too, because I just be so empathic. I can just feel shit like just so easily, you know. Shit should bother me. It should really break me down and all this type of stuff. But I mean, my spirit guides be healing my heart, you know. And I be doing the work too. So, you know. I'm so thrown off right now. I'm so thrown off right now. I got mad at him yesterday because I came home and, you know, my son, he looking like he hungry, you know, and I'm just like, and he, you know, he in the bed sleeping shit, and I'm just like, nigga, he hungry. Like, why is he up hungry and you snoring, passed out in the bed? He was just like, well, I made some tacos. I said, nigga, you made the beef, but you ain't got no lettuce, you ain't got no cheese, you ain't got no sour cream. All we got is hot sauce, salsa, meat, and the tortillas. Come on now, you know that's not how he do. You know he want the full stack. You had all day. You had all day to get your ass out here and do what you had to do. So, you know, cause I be stingy with, I do be kind of stingy with my money, cause I mean, you know, shit is coming up. So, you know, I got to manage my money correctly. And my thing is, you know, I was dealing with some bad mental health too yesterday because I was hungry. You know, I ain't had shit to take. I ain't had shit to take with me when I had to go handle my business. You know, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, I'm not trying. He just be so not hearing, man. And then he don't pay attention to the needs of other people. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, he saw that I was struggling yesterday. And the first thing that he'll say, well, I can't help you with yourself. I can't, you know, nigga ain't shit. Right? So I'm just like, okay. And then on top of that, you know, I'm under attack. So I'm not really focused. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to feel out what moves I need to make, what it is I need to do, like what's going on. You know, so I'm distracted, and I'm not thinking about eating. I'm not, you know, I'm trying to focus on making sure I'm good to go. I forgot my teeth. I forgot my gum. Forgot my candy. You know, wanted to take me something to eat. So, I mean, why do I feel so irritated though? I feel irritated as hell. I don't understand. It's like being in the car. It's like driving, having to deal with people. It's just irritated. It's irritation at its finest. But anyway, so, I mean, I'm just like, damn, you ain't been doing shit all fucking day. Then it's just like dishes is piling up. Usually I take care of it, but I'm dealing with other shit. And it's just like, you just around here just in la la land somewhere or in your fucking phone all goddamn day. You know? So I'm just like, damn, I'm hungry. That nigga ain't even cooked nothing. So, you know, when I came home, I was fussing with his ass. I mean, he was tired as hell, so he ain't care. I knew he wouldn't care because, I mean, I just needed to get it off my chest. Because I'm sitting up here dealing with this bad mental health, you know, sitting up here protecting your dumb ass, and then having to make sure that I'm good, you know. And it's like, you gonna cook the meat, but you ain't gonna go out and get no stuff for the fucking tacos. Then I got to come home and baby boy looked like he fucking starving. He talking about, well, I told him, nigga, you know he not gonna eat that. Gonna feed him some slop. All you want to do is fucking drink all goddamn night. Oh, goodness. So, you know, I let it rip on his ass last night. But I knew he wasn't gonna care because he was asleep. So, you know, I just took care of the baby boy. It's crazy. I don't know what the fuck going on. Then I come out here and it's all synchronistic and shit. But at the same time, it's irritating. I don't know what's going on. What is going on? What is going on? What is going on? Somebody is here. Somebody is here. Somebody is around. Who is this? Is this a new person? Who is it? What's up? Make sure I got these keys before I get out here. Crown me the king. I say what I mean. Ooh. Oh yes, girl, you've seen me many times, many lies, many times before. Oh, and one thing's for sure. Remember me. Oh, see, he texted me and he told me, don't get it. He said he gonna get it tomorrow. And see, I ain't take my phone with me. Woo. So let me do a reading real quick because I want to see what's up. What are the messages? Tell me the messages. Tell me what's up. Tell me what's up with it. What's up? What's up with it? Crown me the king. I say what I mean. I say what I mean. Oh yes, girl, you've seen me. Okay, so I got the Knight of Wands, 4 of Wands, 3 of Wands, 5 of Swords, Chariot in reverse, Judgment, and Ace of Cups. Look at that Ace of Cups. That's the overflow of things. And I told you it was a flood. Is this my energy? This is somebody else's energy. So you're telling me the Knight of Wands, do this have something to do with business? Career? It got something to do with career. I mean, are you trying to talk to me? Okay, so is this a person? So somebody is coming in with some type of offer or something? Okay, so let me see. Is this a dirty ass offer? It's a dirty offer. That must be something here with the Chariot in reverse. So with the Chariot in reverse, when it comes to some type of offer or when it comes to like business or career or some shit, it's like this person, they try to come in and diddy my ass. They try to come in and diddy my ass. They try to put up illusions. They gonna try to pitch me some bullshit and they're not even confident in their abilities and what they can do. Wow. I mean, I'm good with being on my own. I definitely don't trust anybody, especially because you wouldn't believe, like, motherfuckers be trying to reach out to me They really be trying to play me. Like, they be trying to reach out to me like they got just some great opportunity for me. God already told me that I'm not supposed to work with anybody else anyway. So however limited I am is just how limited I'm just gonna be. So it really don't, it don't matter to me. Like, I'm not money hungry out here. I know that God got me. Motherfuckers know my life. They know that shit is not ideal for me. It's challenging for me, but oh fucking well. Like, I'm not some shit. Some shit is just not worth it, no matter how great it seems. So thank you for letting me know that, for telling me that. So that Ace of Cups is me, right? That's me loving myself. I do have the gift of discernment, yes, and it, is it a love reading too? I'm about to say this is about me. It's about me loving myself. So who is this Five of Swords? Is that me too? That's somebody else who tried to gaslight me. Who is that? Him? I know it. I knew he was triggered. He triggered. He trying to act like he not triggered. He trying to gaslight me. I think something happened. I feel like it's somebody else involved too. I feel like somebody in the spirit, was somebody attached to him or something. I don't feel nothing. Like, I don't sense nothing. I don't pick up nothing. I did feel movement when I start talking. It's like the moment I start talking, I felt a shift. I felt some movement. So whatever. I don't know. I'm not about to sit here and worry about it. I do see relocation. Like, I'm about to relocate. I do see that. I don't know where the fuck I could be possibly going. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's some surprising shit. Maybe it's something. But something was in here. Something was here. Was it a spirit guide? Somebody was playing in divination. What, they trying to spy through him? They trying to spy through him. Well, it ain't much that was going on today. It was a very chill day. I mean, we watched that documentary all day. We started at like 12. I think we ended at like 5 or something. Something like that. So somebody about to crash out. Somebody about to get in a car accident too, but it looks more so like a crash out. They know I'm not going to want they offer. But my thing is, I feel like it's not personal. You know, it's not personal. It's just that I know what God wants me to do. You see what I'm saying? And then on top of that, people have already tried to test me, with trying to create these fake ass opportunities for me, just so they could try to set me up. Those may have been some victims of Diddy too. You see, when we don't heal trauma, we try to traumatize other people. What was done to us, we try to do it to other people. So I already made a video. We already talked about this shit ain't real. So motherfuckers, that's what I'm saying. I can see that the shit is not real. I can see when people keep trying to come to me, when people no, you're a scammer, you're on some bullshit. Cut the shit, cut the illusion. Like, leave me the fuck alone. Once again, I hope individuals recover, and I hope that, they cannot take on that man demons trying to bring other people down because of what has happened to them. So anyway, is this person upset with me? Right. They upset. What the fuck are they upset for? Because I'm not triggered, because I'm not heartbroken. They want to break my heart, right? A lot of people do. And, a lot of people want to, and a lot of people have. You know, you want to know why my music is what it is, you know, when I'm talking about love. You know, every love experience I have, I create a song. And when you listen to some of those songs are very beautiful. And as beautiful as they are, it always ends up in heartbreak. So if you pay attention, I have about 64 music videos, which means that, you know, I have had 64 experiences of heartbreak. I've had a lot of practice. Do I enjoy going through it? No, the fuck I don't. And I don't appreciate your attempt with thinking that you're going to just easily come up in here too. The nerve of you. That is an insult to my fucking intelligence. So you're already starting off disrespectful in the spirit. So, you know, you can get that cut. You can get that cut off. You can get that cut game and leave me the fuck alone. Because if you want to spend so much, if you have so much time to waste to where you would try to come in and try to set some bullshit up for me, set up a trap for me because you want to break my heart. You don't have enough time on your hands. And then on top of that, you're not very intelligent because you don't have anything else in that brain except for destruction. Definitely not my type. Definitely not somebody that I want to work with or somebody, you know, that I want close to me at all. Okay? So until next time, we'll talk again. Thank you.